The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.
Hello, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started here in just a couple of minutes. All right. Well, welcome everyone to our Habits of Health Zoom. My name is Nicole DeWard. I am a certified Optavia coach. I'm also a certified personal trainer and have been for the past 10 years and have been coaching for the last 7. And I am completely honored and grateful to be here with you tonight. And I see a lot of you are entering into the chat where you're from. And I would really love it tonight if you would enter the first word that comes to your mind when you think about what you're grateful for. It may not have anything to do with Optavia or your health, but just when you think about being grateful, the first thing that comes to your mind is what you're grateful for. And we'll get into a little bit of that tonight as well. But my hope and prayer for you tonight is that you are educated and empowered to really move forward in your journey. That's really what these calls are designed to do. So we welcome all clients, we welcome all of our coaches, and even hopefully we have guests on the call taking a look at Optavia and what we have to offer. And so I want to start tonight with this analogy, and it came to me because for so many years of coaching and coaching clients with personal training and coaching with Optavia, I find that there's a really good thing that we need to pay attention to. So I'm going to use this little prop of a power strip. And for those of you that are on the phone and you can't see this, or you're listening to the playback later, I'd really encourage you to look back at the video because a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So the analogy and the visual is what's going to be really helpful for you. So what I find a lot of times is that we do an awful lot, maybe myself and for clients, maybe for you, there's a lot of trying that goes on, right? There's a lot of things that we know we ought to be doing and that we try and there's a lot of effort, there's a lot of hustle, there's a lot of discouragement and frustration. And so when we have these things that we know we ought to do, you know, one of my favorite scriptures says, the very thing I don't want to do, I do, and the very thing I want to do, I don't do. And there's this tension, right? This tension in ourselves. And so I think that we need to see it like this. So here's our power strip, and we have lots of different habits of health, right? We have lots of different things that we're working on. So let's say we're working on our nutrition. We're really getting our blood sugar balanced and getting things right. And then we've got our sleep, and we're putting all these habits in our power strip. And then we're really working on meaningful relationships. And we're making sure we're getting our water in. You know, we're really trying hard for our water. And then, you know, we're going to be in debt free because finances, that's a huge stressor. So we're going to make sure that we're working on having a debt free lifestyle, right? And so here we have all these things that we're working on, we're trying. And at the other end of the power cord, right, about our power strip is our plug. And this is what I think happens far too many times. And this may or may not be you tonight, but what I find is that this gets plugged in here. And we spend an awful lot of time trying to do things on our own. And when we're trying to do things on our own, there's just a lot of fatigue. There's a lot of being tired, a lot of giving up. And that's not what this life is meant to be. And so in walks Optavia, right? In walks this amazing source. Here we go. I'm a little creative in my free time. So we have this power source. And so what I would suggest is that we unplug from doing things on our own. right? And we take it and we plug in to Optavia. And what this is about, you guys, is this is about plugging into all 4 pillars, all 4 of our components, because you've got an amazing health coach that's walking alongside you to provide you support and encouragement. We are not meant here to teach, right? We're meant here to be a support and to do life together. And then we've got our awesome community, which is like this call, and we're gathering together all of these people that are in this together. And we have, of course, our amazing Habits of Health, which Dr. A so graciously has given us. It's like he downloaded all this amazing information into a book that we get to take a part of and to read and really digest over and over again. And then, of course, our amazing fuelings. And our fuelings help us stay connected to keeping our blood sugar balanced and doing our best every day. And so all 4 components keep us connected. We integrate into the system. So as we're connected, as we're plugged in, and as we stay integrated, we do this together. So all of these things that we try so hard, if you feel like you're trying, I would suggest you take a look and make sure that you're not plugged into yourself, not plugged into your own power strip, but that you're plugged in to Optavia. And Optavia is really the optimal way. So in talking about our habits of health, we're going to go ahead and jump in to our habit of health tonight, which is inflammation. And I have to say, when I was asked to talk on inflammation, I'm thinking this is not my wheelhouse. Typically my wheelhouse is in exercise, but I'm thrilled to be able to share this topic of inflammation with you tonight, because I believe that as we understand it and as we unpack it a little bit, my hope is that you're able to take a step forward and to really figure out how it affects you, that you can see how it shows up in your life, and that you can really move forward in optimal health. So Ron Gels always says, keep it simple, sweetie, that KISS acronym. And so we're gonna KISS inflammation tonight, and I hope you're all with me in that. In order to unpack this, I'm gonna use who, what, when, where, why, and how. And so let's go ahead and jump in. So who is affected by inflammation? Well, unfortunately, all of us are. We live in a culture and an environment that is just riddled with opportunity for inflammation, right? And I remember when I was in middle school, we had, I had the shirt of all these fish swimming this way and this little minnow swimming this way. And I remember feeling like that when I was in school, like I did things differently. All my friends were doing these things and I was going this way. And so in the health field, I kind of feel like we're all still a little bit in that, right? Culture is going this way, and here we are trying to swim upstream. And so when our culture is riddled with all of these things that can bring our immune system down and cause inflammation, is that I believe that what Dr. A is giving us is the opportunity to create a whole new world. That eventually this is going to be us. We are going to be the many fishes, because as we come together in community, I love that Louisa just said community is key. And it's so true that as we combine in community, we are really able to take a hold of this mission that Dr. A has for us, and that the other people are going to be swimming upstream because we're going to make a new way. And so for those of you, I'm going to say some of these words and see if any of these are affecting you. Dermatitis, IBS, sinus infections, stiff joints, stroke, asthma, skin infections, tired looking skin, cancer, joint pain. If you have any of these things, inflammation is affecting your body. There's an extensive chart on page 231 in the Habits of Health, and I totally recommend you guys. I mean, I feel like I could really sit here tonight and read this entire chapter to you word by word, because it's so good. I think that they always say, who learns more, the teacher or the student? Well, when you're preparing a talk, man, you learn so much. And Dr. A just lays it out so simplistically, but what I find is that we take what we kind of know and then we make the rest kind of fit. And so when I was asking some people, what is inflammation? We're gonna move on to the what. I heard a lot of things like, well, it's redness, swelling, it's, joint pain, it's like a pain right where you have the infection or whatever, what that's called is acute inflammation. And so when we have acute inflammation, That's what is redness and pain and swelling. And what inflammation is the body's attempt to heal the cells or the tissue that were damaged. And so what we're going to be talking about tonight is actually called chronic inflammation. And it's really the silent enemy, or some people call it the silent killer, because some of these things go undetected and we don't even really know that they're going on. But some of the signs that you may be indicative of you having some chronic inflammation or some low-grade inflammation would be things like fatigue, chest pain, abdominal pain, fever, rash. These types of things can be indicative of chronic inflammation. So I'm all about analogies. I think it's so important to understand. And so this is in chapter 19, Wanda. Thanks for asking again. So this is my paper cut analogy. I want you to all to imagine the last time you got a paper cut, okay? They're annoying. You get this paper cut and you're like, it just smarts. And then you get a paper cut again in the same spot. And you're thinking, how did I do that again? I can't believe I got a paper cut in the same exact spot. And then you get it over and over and over and over again. So now no longer you have a paper cut. I'm sure you all could put in the chat what we now have, which is called an infection, right? We now have a full-blown infection. This is no longer a paper cut. But what I want to propose to you tonight is this is often what happens in our body. That time after time when we make decisions that cause an inflammatory response in the body, it's a paper cut over and over and over, which leads to something bigger. So little things add up. And it's time after time after time. And where I see this show up the most, everyone, is in your gut. It's in your digestive process. Because the three biggest things that affect our inflammation are food, stress, and our environment. And so we're moving on to where. Where does inflammation take place? Well, it takes place anywhere, because what is largely impacted is your immune system. So every time you get that paper cut over and over, your immune system is like on high alert. And it's trying to go in and fix all the things that are damaged. And so when this happens, the body gets tired and fatigued, and we can pick up lots of other things as well. So if you've ever felt like, gosh, you just keep getting something over and over again, like you get a cough and then you get a stomach ache, and then you trip and fall, like you just keep feeling like there's more and more things going on. Well, it's because your body is down and it's trying to fight. And this is what happens with chronic inflammation. So we're going to move on to when. When inflammation happens, it is from an unhealthy lifestyle. And for those of you on the call, I know it's because we're all purposing, right, to live a healthy lifestyle. But I want to go over a few things, right? Because often what I hear is, when can I XYZ? When will I be able to XYZ? And what I hope you're inspired tonight is that when you understand why, that it's not about the rule, right? It's not really about the rule. It's about understanding that this is something that affects you lifelong. So for example, when we eat high fatty foods, it damages our cells that line our arteries. And I don't know if any of you have heart disease in your family, maybe you have a genetic predisposition towards that. We really want to make sure that we're not eating high fatty foods, because when it causes damage to our cells, this is what happens. When we do this, this happens. It's the first this, then this kind of analogy, right? So when we eat lots of sugar, or even a little sugar, really, our immune system goes down. So just a little bit of sugar, it does not help the medicine go down, people. We do not want to be on medicine. We want to make sure that we're eating as little sugar as possible, because it can cause diabetes and obesity. Refined carbohydrates, gosh, I don't know about you, but a donut is awesome. But it's not just one donut. It causes carb cravings to have us want more and more and more donuts. And so when this happens, it leads to what? Diabetes and obesity. Increase in vegetable oils. A lot of our foods that we get from the store, if you're not shopping the perimeter, is made with vegetable oil. And this causes an imbalance in our omegas in our body. The body longs to be in homeostasis. And so in order for that to happen, we've got to be vigilant about what is going in our body. And it's not about the rule. It's about understanding what happens and what we need to be careful of ourselves. So a couple other things like excess alcohol in the body, man, largely taxes the liver. And the liver's trying to detoxify the body, causes inflammation. Processed meats can cause inflammation in the body as well as an inactive lifestyle. And of course, I love exercise. I think that it's the best medicine that any of us could ever use is exercise. Inactivity brings what I call stagnation. And when your body is stagnant, all sorts of terrible things happen. And so I highly recommend that you move well so you can move often. Because when these things happen, we have increase in fatty foods and in sugar, vegetable oils, and the refined carbs. Chronic stress happens in the body. And this can be chronic stress emotionally, it can be physical, like the things we just talked about, and it can be a disease or infection. And a couple things happen when we have chronic stress. It increases our level of cortisol, right? We might be getting IBS, we might get type 2 diabetes, we might have decreased libido, which is no bueno. We might get fatty deposits in our neck. If you've ever seen that bump in the back of the neck, that fatty deposit there in your face or in your belly, these are things that happen from chronic stress. And so I'm so encouraging you guys to take a look at what kinds of chronic stress is in your life. What are some things that you can begin moving away from in order to have what you really want, which is optimal health? So why does the body cause all this inflammation? Well, its goal is to eliminate the cause of injury, right? Dr. A talks a lot in his book about CRP. It's called C-reactive protein. Go ahead and put in the chat if you've ever had your CRP checked, because it is something that you have to talk to your doctor about. It's not something like when they check your iron, they don't just automatically check for your CRP. But CRP, C-reactive protein, it's a substance that's made from the liver. It's delivered from the liver so that it helps to fight inflammation. And when you have high markers of C-reactive protein in your body, somebody just mentioned they have Crohn's, right? That's an inflammatory disease. That's right. Autoimmune diseases. Yes, good. A lot of you have had your CRP checked. Awesome. Every annual exam. Awesome, Leslie. Like, these are things that are important to know about your body, especially if you have a predisposition, right? If you have genetic history, if you have cancer in your family. High elevated CRPs can be indicative of something going on in the body that are unknown, because low-grade inflammation, chronic low-grade inflammation, can be totally silent and have no signs and symptoms. This is a way that we can understand what's going on with the body. So right now, I'd like to bring on my really great friend, Molly Purdy. I've gone through the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, and I'm going to get to the how as soon as Molly shares her testimony and story. Molly's changed my life. Molly's changed my life because 7 years ago, she introduced me to Optavia. And I was looking for something that I didn't know I needed. I was looking for a way that I could impact thousands and thousands of lives. And I am honored and grateful that I've been given the opportunity, not only to be on this call tonight to speak to hundreds of you and to be on the recordings, here, have my voice heard, and really just to inspire you for more. But Molly is the reason why I'm here. And so I couldn't be more grateful to have her share tonight about her experience with where she started and where she is now. Molly, take it away.
Thanks, Nicole. What a great presentation, and I appreciate you inviting me to be here, and I could not be more proud to be associated with Optavia and specifically with you. I love all the lives that we are helping to move forward in health and in well-being. So thank you for that. Just a testimony to my journey, or all the things that you've shared with us today, is that 9 years ago, almost in April, it'll be 9 years, that I got a health coach and went on plan and started changing my habits. I felt so compelled by what I was learning and doing and seeing that just 2 weeks into the program, I raised my hand and said, I'd like to pay this forward and help other people do the same. So I've been health coaching. It'll be 9 years this May. So I'm excited about that. But I wanted to share with you and with the rest of the people on the call who are plugged in and can see the screen here. Wanted to share with them a vision when I first started this journey. So in April of 2000, I'm sitting here in a blue sweatshirt. You can see that. And then about 14 weeks later, you see me in July of 2009. That's 54 pounds down. 54 is just a number because all the things that happened during that time were exciting, and I can't even tell you all the things I felt. When I became a health coach, you know, you're asked to pick out a nomenclature kind of for your website and so forth. And the one that I came up with was feel better fast, because that's exactly what happened to me. I felt so much better so quickly. And by learning about inflammation and the power of the information just about inflammation and how we know that that's a contributing factor to just about every major disease we know, was just so significant to how I was feeling in general. I couldn't quite pinpoint why I was fatigued, why I was tired. I was a busy mom, 2 kids, working at the school a lot, doing things, staying involved with the children. And so I always hung my hat on the reason I was tired was because I was busy. And clearly now, knowing what I know now, I can look back and what I see, yes, I see a 54-pound weight loss, but more importantly, I see a woman who got control of her inflammation, who changed her habits, and who is continually trying to move forward in a healthy body, healthy mind, healthy finances, being in community with other people. So as you see down here, this third picture on the right was taken in January. And I'm 9 years older in that picture than I am in the picture on the left. And I am so grateful for Optavia and all that I've learned through the Habits of Health and what Dr. A has led us through. I just can't even put it into words. And hopefully the visuals themselves speak volumes. But just knowing how inflammation impacts our bodies, how stress impacts our bodies, all the hormones it impacts. And again, chapter 19, I encourage you to go through it, read it, get familiar with it, have more reasons than the scale, please, to change your habits. The scale, you know, your weight loss and your health is just a side effect of really healthy daily habits. And if you know what those are and how to get after them and get the support you need, anything is possible. Thank you, Nicole.
Awesome, Molly. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm reading, I love the chat. Michelle just said you're bringing tears to my eyes. I'm so inspired. Thanks for sharing your story. You look so much younger. It's been so fun to watch your journey, Molly, and to watch you stay in the game. I think that's really what speaks the most, you guys, is the fact that this wasn't a one and done. Molly really decided 9 years ago, right, to be here. She plugged in and she stays here because she knows that if she takes this plug out and tries it on her own, again, no bueno, all right? So we're gonna bring this home with the how. I said at one point that little things add up both ways. And so oftentimes we think that things are just such a little, it's just a little change, it's just a little thing, it's just a little donut, it's just a, you know, I'm gonna take a little bath, right? There are little things add up both ways. And so I would really recommend that we spend more time adding up the things that are gonna be decreasing our inflammation instead of the things that can increase it. So let's bring it back to the 3 things that cause the most inflammation: food, stress, and our environment. And so Dr. A goes through so many ideas. It's packed full of really great ideas. And why? Why do we do these things? And so I want to talk a little bit about the beginning when I asked you to write what you were grateful for. It really helps to keep your mind in that mindset of gratefulness, because as we are focusing on positivity, that's one amazing way that, along with smiling, you can just smile and put yourself in a better mood, and it decreases your cortisol levels just by being in a place of gratefulness, by smiling. And these are stress relieving techniques. And so when we're looking at defeating chronic stress in our life, again, that can be emotional, physical, or a disease or infection, we want to make sure that there are things that we have in our tool belt. Of course, like I mentioned, I love exercise. If you want to go back and watch one of the recordings I did on exercise, so good. It's so good to make sure that we're getting fun exercise, things that you can continue to do all the time. Get a massage, take a great bath, do breathing techniques. Dr. A has this great thing that says, you know, put your hand over your chest and one over your belly and find out what kind of breather you are. Very important to learn to breathe from your belly and deep into your diaphragm. And one of my favorite things is laughter. Like, how fun is it to be able to get together with your friends and laugh, tell jokes? I've got 2 boys who love to tell jokes. And I have to tell you, my favorite joke that I've heard so far that I think you're gonna love, and it was on a viral video from Facebook, but okay, so everyone, you wanna hear a joke? Decaf. There we go. That's my favorite joke. That makes me like, right? I hope you're all laughing right now. You want to hear a joke? Decaf. Okay. So we have to have really a lot of consciousness around our food. I went through a lot of things that we want to be avoiding, but definitely want to have conscious fuelings. Conscious fuelings mean we're going to put all the right things together. Some of you are on our call tonight that are focusing, you're in your weight loss phase. And so you've got a specific plan to follow for your weight loss phase. Some of you are going transition, and then we're going into optimization. And so when you're in the optimization phase, it doesn't mean that we just eat whatever we want. No, we have conscious fuelings, always conscious fuelings. And that's why we have Stop, Challenge, Choose, right? Stop, Challenge, Choose is going to always help us make the best choice. And that's in weight loss phase, transition phase, that's in the rest of your life. So we want to make sure that we stay conscious around our fuelings, stress relieving techniques. And then the last thing about your environment, we want to make sure that we're detoxifying our home and our environment. Things like decreasing the use of plastic, using a HEPA air filter in your home, making sure that the water you're drinking is quality. We really don't want it coming out of plastic bottles. So another thing that Dr. A mentioned, that even though it's really great to walk barefoot on the lawn to kind of be one with the earth and to center your body, for all the yogis on the call, it's not good if you have a lawn service. If you have a lawn service that's treating your lawn, you definitely don't want to be walking barefoot on that, because your feet have over 4,000 pores in them, and it can absorb everything from the ground. So all of that to say, little things add up both ways. So as we stay in a place of gratefulness, as we keep a smile on our face, we take a look at this topic of inflammation, and we do as Ron Gels told us, right? We're going to keep it simple, sweetie. We're going to make sure that we understand the role inflammation plays in our life, how it helps us to prevent invaders from being in our body, but also to be mindful about the ways to decrease it so that we don't have things sneak up on us. No one wants to be snuck up on. All right, we want to be mindful. So make sure you connect with your doctor again about the CRP if you'd like to have that checked, especially if you've had a genetic history, predisposition. But I hope that you were inspired to greatness tonight. I hope that you leave this call having some very distinct ways that you're going to be more mindful, that you're empowered to go out and tell someone else what you learned tonight. That's one of the very best ways that we can stay connected, is by paying it forward. And so in closing for our call tonight, I would invite you to stay on the line. If you are new to Optavia and you are wanting to learn more about our program and all that we have to offer, I want you to stay on the call, because we do have a presentation that's going to follow this. And Mayor Joe just asked if all these are recorded. We do have, if you go to YouTube, you can look up Habits of Health Zoom, and all of our calls are placed there that are recorded. And so I'm so grateful and honored, and thank you all so much for the chat. It's so fun to read that. I'm learning how to read the chat and talk to you at the same time. So thank you so much for the honor and privilege to inspire you to greatness tonight. I hope you all have a wonderful Wednesday evening. Thank you.
This audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.